Let's talk about traveling down the road. I know when you guys got really hot and you were rock stars, you were flying
Yeah.
everywhere, but there had been a lot of road trips with you and Dickie Murdoch traveling down the road and either in a jet box or well, whatever you guys were driving and drinking some beer on that road.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you and Dickie Murdoch had a hell of a tag team called the Texas Outlaws.
Yeah.
And how were you guys together, and what did you want to split up because you saw the singles path as your destiny? Because you weren't the American Dream yet. That wouldn't happen until you went down to Florida, correct?
Yes, correct, 74.
So how did
and
you
it just came out of my mouth. Well, it was, even when I was in power, I had lieutenants. And Barry Windham, even at 19 and 20 years old, he was a lieutenant.
Right.
What I mean by that is he watched my back, and I'm going to just mention him a second. Barry was the most natural talented, besides Dustin, most natural talented just walk in the ring, and probably one of the greatest in-ring performers in our history. But there was no one, my friend, as great a performer as Dick Murdoch. Jose Lothario I always thought was close. But Dick Murdoch at 50%, which he would go some nights, or at 70%, which he would go some nights.
Yeah.
But at 95 and 100, there was no one that could touch him, period. But we had one thing in common. We loved the road, we loved the travel, we loved country music, and we loved beer. We would leave, as I'm sure you have done on numerous occasions, but we would leave. We're not talking about taking drugs or anything like that. We're talking about beer. Yep. And he was a cheap son of a bitch, God rest his soul. He would buy beer in New Orleans to make a trip to Alexander with no label on it. It would be in a white can. I don't know where the shit this came from.
Yeah.
And it tasted like panther piss.
Yeah.
I don't know where it came from. When it was my turn to buy the beer, then I would I would try to get something that at least had a name on it, whether it was Jack's, Jack's or Pearl or something like that. Yeah. It was cheap. And we would put 24 and double 24 sometimes. The white cooler, the styrofoam cooler where you put your hand in and finally break and the water would fall over the back seat. We did that many times. We'd pack it with ice. The first thing we did when we got to a town was not go to the arena. We'd go to the store, get the beer, and ice it down and put it in the back seat. That was the most important thing that was going to happen that night, period. And then it didn't have Sirius satellite radio, didn't have what you're doing right now, broadcast and all this stuff. None of that was social media was there. So we'd go AM, 820, Bill Mack Show, Forward Dallas, every night, even in Michigan, we could pick it up and we'd turn it on, and Murdoch would throw his head back, the worst singer in the history of the world, and would sing these songs, and we'd just go down the road, night after night after night after night after night, till one morning I woke up in some old hotel, and I looked across the bed next to me, and them old white BVDs, all yellow stained up and shit, sitting over there, big ass sticking out from under the cover, smell like, donkey piss in the place. And I finally had got word, I said, I want to try this on my own. We were in Detroit.
Yeah.
And I walk in and I tell Eddie Farhat, the Sheik, and Jack Kane, who was the booker, I said, I'd like to give him a notice. I want to move on. And I look behind me, and it's Murdoch. He's sitting there and said, well, me too. I said, no. I said, excuse me just a minute, Sheik. I said, let me walk out here. I said, Dick, I just want to go on my own here. We've been together so long, night and day, went through families, all this stuff. I just want to go and try something on my own. And so that we always remained close, but there was never, again, that day-to-day travel stories down the road, hidden beer signs, shooting guns, putting Cosmo Rosario in the back of a truck, telling kayfabe, lay down, and we took him at 20 degrees to Minot, North Dakota, wouldn't let him out of the bed of the truck, and we were in the truck with the heater on, and that guy nearly froze to death. I mean, we would rib unbelievably back during that period of time. So
how many days a month were you guys on the road? Because it had to have been very extensive, more so than today.
I think we always around, Thanksgiving night we always worked. That was huge. Starcade. Let's go back to Crockett. Let's go back to the Omni in Atlanta. New Year's Eve we worked, and Christmas Day we worked. They were the 3 big days.
But the days that you were home,
but
probably only home maybe 2 days every here and there, but then always back out on the road.
No, but it was the only time would be Christmas time, probably around the 19th. Work back on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
So 300 and some days or whatever they are.
That's what I'm getting.
I mean, a year after year after year, where the years pile up, you say, man, I got to slow down. This has been 8 years. This has been 9 years. Whoa, wait a minute. Holy, let's stop. You know what I mean? Because nobody knows your product better than you. You are your product.
Right.
You're standing there, your product. Why turn it over to somebody else when you work so hard to get to this level?
So what happened?
Why turn this over?
What happened to the relationship with Dick Murdoch? I know he's one of your closest friends, but
yes.
As you decided to go on your own and go down the singles path, did it hurt his feelings? Was he cool with it? Did he understand?
No, I don't think he did at first. I think, we always, we had some property in Colorado. We all kind of together, and, we bought some property out there back when it was, going out to southern Colorado there, in Cachara up in the mountains there. We had some property, and we would hunt and would be together, and I always low-keyed around him. I never tried to be, I just wanted to be who he met and who I was, because I always looked up to him. So no matter how big a star I was, he resented probably the American Dream type deal and what I was doing back then. He was not a racist as people think he was, but he had his beliefs in the way he believed, period, and that's what it was. And I was dealing with a different clientele and different people, and he was still dealing with redneck Dick Murdoch. I mean, it's just that simple. I'll defend him to the end, because that's that's what he was. I loved him as close to my brother. So we always remained close, but I think it wasn't jealousy, Steve. It's not. There's a difference. You know that. It was just like, okay, I kind of left him here, and I went on, because how many people, when you do stuff like that you know, how many people that begrudge your shit and blame you? Think about that 100 times now when I'm booking and shit. Blame you for their downfall or why they couldn't keep up, and so they put it all on you and say, oh, they either pushed me out or done this. That's horse shit. That's horse shit. Because being pushed is one thing. Being in the position I'm in or was another thing. When you were as powerful as I was, you're going to have distractors. So Murdoch never was a distractor. He was there for me, but he went his own way, and I went my own way.